The Spanish announce table.
It is Pro Wrestling's best podcast. If you disagree, you're wrong. I'm Tim, that's Tom. Over there, we are already having a blast, and we are ready to share that experience with you tonight, our wrestling friends. If you're new, welcome to our, the Spanish Announce Table Nation here, right? We're going to talk about a lot of pro wrestling fun. We are mainly AEW-focused podcast because that's what we find fun and like to talk about, but we also like to talk to you, the fans. So if you want to talk about something else, talk to us about it. Then we'll opine back and forth, right?
No topics are off the table.
Right.
You can bring up anything you want. Now, with that being said, if you're wanting our thoughts on the Israel-Palestine conflict right now, fuck off. But if you want to know, hey, how's Seth Rollins and Shinsuke Nakamura's feud compared to Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle's feud? Okay, we'll talk about it. It's kind of dumb, but we'll talk about that. You know what I mean? So within reason, right? Is what we'll talk about. But we'll talk about anything. Even if you want to be like, hey man, Phillies versus Diamondbacks. What the hell happened there? I'm like, I don't know, man.
Or if you want to talk about how the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this week against the Denver Broncos, and then they're going to travel to Germany and beat the Miami Dolphins, then we could talk about that. And I know Tom's going to want to talk about that because Tom will be at that game live and in person in Deutschland, rooting on the Kansas City Chiefs, of course. He'll probably, I think you're the new X Factor, right? Didn't you take his position since, he got whoop?
Well, so since he got put in the Chiefs Hall of Fame, they needed someone to step up.
The Hall of Fame? Shame. I don't mean Dante. I'm talking about the fan X Factor.
Oh,
no.
Fuck that guy. I thought you were talking about Dante Hall.
I forgot for a second that's the real X Factor.
Yeah,
no, I was talking about X Factor, who he's like, I'm not a heroin addict. I am a cocaine addict.
Right. Which, I mean, hey, have fun.
Great.
I thought, with Dante Hall getting inducted into the Chiefs Hall of Fame, they needed an extra person. Fun fact, I was running next to Dante Hall on the treadmill at Chiefs Fit here on the plaza. And so then I asked him, I was like, hey man, you want me step up? And he goes, you're running at a pretty good pace. I was like, hey, and I got quick twitch muscles. I can really, and he's like,
call me Juke and Joe.
He's like, hey, let's go up to the roof where there's a AstroTurf field. He's like, let's run some routes. So I was running, boom. And he's like, you know what? You got good hands too. I was like, yeah, they're small, but I can catch pretty good. He's like, yeah, you can. And then he's like, all right, man. Well, hey, I got to go. And these security guards are going to take you back to your house. And I was like, well, that's weird. And then they put me in handcuffs and then he never talked to me again. So that was weird, man. But hey, I'm going to Germany.
I remember bailing you out for that, but that was weird. Yeah.
So weird, right?
Yeah.
There was one time I tried out for American Idol too. Did you know that?
I think we talked about this on the show. Yeah.
Oh my God. I sang a song of just beauty. And Paula Abdul, guess how long ago it was. Paula Abdul was like, that was fantastic. I said, thank you so much. She gave me a kiss on the cheek and then she patted me on the shoulder. And then again, they put me in handcuffs. And I was escorted out.
Drugged me out of the arena. It was really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't resisting, but they still, fucking threw me out.
So
and now a restraining order?
Restraining order. That said, hopefully that won't happen when you're over there in Germany. You're not going to get ripped out of the stands by the Polizei. If you're placing bets, you got about a 50-50 shot. But that means Tom won't be here next week. So pause on that. I plan to maybe do something, right? I feel like I'll talk to the nation unless, something happens. But stay tuned. You can always, if you subscribe to us on SpanishAnnounceTable.net, you'll know when we're going live what day because you'll get an email notification. But that's, for you to decide. It's completely free. But you could also go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net and get our T-shirt up there.
There you go.
Tom, you're going to go to Germany. You won't be here next week, so we'll be sad. We'll miss you. But you're going to get to go watch the Chiefs demoralize the Miami Fish.
Yes, we're going to go dolphin fishing out in Germany next week. Now, a shoot, if we're being real here. So obviously anyone who's listened long enough knows that I have a tumor in my left rotator cuff. It hurts a lot. I'm in pain most of the time. Been struggling with it since radiation. They're like, oh, this should be good. I'm like, well, it's fucking not. And so I was like, God damn it. And they gave me a steroid a couple weeks ago. And when I was on that steroid, Tim, I felt like I was 28 years old. I fucking felt like I remember Two Abs T-Mac, that episode. That's what I felt like. I was like, motherfucker, I can choke out the world.
Yeah.
Which isn't great, but my mood swings, right? So that was the bad part. So anyhow, fast forward to last week. I was at the doctor and I was like, hey man, I would really like to enjoy this trip to Germany. Like, can we do that steroid again?
Steroids again?
And they said, okay, don't take 2 a day, take 1 and you should be good. And so, Tim, I'm taking 2 a day and it's going to be fucking awesome. Now,
you got to go to another doctor and be like, listen, I could really use some steroids from.
Well, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
If we were to happen to lose, slip on a banana peel and lose, we lost to the Colts last year, right? So crazier things can happen. I might beat the fuck out of a Dolphins fan. So I might.
Yeah, I mean, they probably deserve it.
Yeah, but Dolphins fans typically aren't assholes, right? They're not Raiders. They're not the Raiders.
Yeah.
You know? So we'll see. But
I mean, I don't know. I don't really encounter many Miami Dolphins fans out here, right? Like, I don't really run into them a whole lot.
Well, another shoot. I kind of like him. Mike McDaniel is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, Mike McDaniel's so cool. Jalen Waddle has the coolest celebration when he just does the waddle. He spins the ball and does the waddle.
Super fun.
Tua, I think Tua's great. Left-handed, only left-handed quarterback in the NFL right now. Last left-handed quarterback was Michael Vick, to give you an idea of how long that was.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah. So I like him. Yeah, I like him, but I'll choke a motherfucker out.
I don't like him that much. Yeah, I like him, but like, not that week. Not that week. So we are going to talk, though, about wrestling. This ain't next week. This is now, right? And we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. Man, I thought we had a really great episode here. Now, we're also going to talk to the fans. We're going to take a trip back in time. And, we said we'd like to talk to the fans. And you can do that in a myriad of ways. You can send us a hashtag tweet the table. Going to be real honest. Not many people seem to be doing that much anymore, and I don't know how much people are going to stick around Twitter. Seems like it's on its free fall to its death at this point. So if you don't want to do that, you can send us an email at tableshow@gmail.com. We'll read emails. Find a way to talk to us, right? There's all sorts of links to our social media up at SpanishAnnounceTable.net. But one of the ways you can do this is you can have your voice or your face, you can have your voice heard or your face seen right here by sending us a video clip or an audio clip. The audio clips go to the Spanish Announce voicemail right there at tableshow@gmail.com, right? Send us any sort of audio clip, and we got one of those again. Quite the regular responses here lately from Ash Hendricks. I'm excited about this, Tom. You ready?
Gentlemen. I have had a few drinks today. Most of them were at work, but that's not the point. Anyway, I think I saw one of you guys had a wedding anniversary or just a regular anniversary, so I forgot which one it was because I'm definitely drunk right now. But congratulations to you, and I feel bad for your wife, but don't worry about it. If she stuck it out this long, she's there till death, so congratulations anyway. Anyway, question. What moment do you think, in your opinion, that was important for changing the game or had a big impact on wrestling history that you feel is not spoken about enough in comparison to other landmark moments in professional wrestling history? And T-Mac, what did you think of Francis Ngannou's pad work, and how long do you think he's going to last before Fury puts a whooping on him? I'll see you boys next week. Drown.
I don't know why he told us to drown. So what do you think here about the MMA stuff? Let's get that out of the way here. You're the pugilist here. Let's discuss that.
So the lineal UFC heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou, who can hit as hard as being in a wreck at 45 miles per hour, that is a fact, is taking on the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time, the best defensive heavyweight boxer of all time, in Tyson Fury. Tyson
Fury better defensively than Mayweather?
Well, no, heavyweight. At heavyweight.
Oh, heavyweight. I got you.
Yeah,
Right.
heavyweight. Yeah, heavyweight. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Look, if you watch the Deontay Wilder first fight with Tyson Fury, he dropped that motherfucker, and then Tyson Fury did the Undertaker sit up. Remember, like he was like, "I'm out," and he's like, "No, I'm not." So he can get hit. It's not like he is untouchable.
Yeah.
And if Francis hits you, you're going to sleep. So there's definitely a puncher's chance, right? There's more than it's like slightly better than a puncher's chance because Francis can box. I think his boxing did look good. Now, again, pad work. I can make anyone look great on pad work because it's really the guy that holds the pad that makes you look fucking good. But that's just a little secret. I think Tyson will carry him to around 7 rounds, and then take him out because Tyson Fury already signed for his next bout after this, which, you don't want to tempt the boxing gods because the boxing gods, they'll sit up there on Mount Zion and, fucking strike you down.
Get you got.
Right. So it could happen, but I would bet a TKO, kind of like he gasses out and just was like, fuck this. And then gets hit. And then the ref stops it. My guess, Tyson Fury, TKO round 6.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about what you just said. I had the 20-year wedding anniversary, Ash, so thanks for that. And yes, God, I understand why you would feel bad for my lovely wife. She is a saint. Tom, what moment do you think was super important but is not talked enough about in comparison to some of the largest moments in pro wrestling history? Which is a tough question, right? Like, because it's, we've talked about so many moments in wrestling history, right? I think what came to mind most immediately is one, to me, I think you've harped on this a bit, is the idea of when WWE went public, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
But that is maybe not a wrestling moment, right? Like maybe that's an industry moment. So I'm still trying to rack my brain. Do you have anything that comes to mind immediately here with this?
I was going to go outside the ring, and I was going to go to kind of a butterfly effect. And my moment that I thought of instantly when asked this question was Captain Lou Albano in Cyndi Lauper's music video, thus creating a friendship between Cyndi Lauper and pro wrestling. And if you go back to that time period, it was Madonna and then Cyndi Lauper. Like those were the two females in the industry. Kind of like right now there's Beyonce and Taylor Swift. It was like so pro wrestling got one of them. You know what I mean? And if that doesn't happen, the rock and wrestling relationship on MTV might not happen. Then if that doesn't happen, Vince doesn't get the momentum to say WrestleMania 1. And so then who the fuck knows, right? If Captain Lou is scheduling conflict and can't do it, and Cyndi Lauper's like, well, that stinks. And it's just like a pro wrestling fan, but like has no connections. And then Vince is like, I'd really love to do a WrestleMania, but doesn't have that momentum of MTV behind him and doing the rock and wrestling and having Piper on and Hogan on and all that stuff. Maybe WrestleMania is more of a dud than anything else. And we'll, you know what I mean? I think of that. I also think of Ted Turner buying Crockett Promotion.
Yeah.
That was the other one. Obviously, that was a shooting star and it burned bright and then it, fizzled out.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty big moment in pro wrestling.
I think we're living in, like, I think if you asked us this question in 10 years, right, I think we might be able to look back and say, when AEW decided to become a thing, right? Because I feel like they have done a lot currently for the landscape of pro wrestling, right? But I think it's still too new, right, to mention like that as a moment that isn't discussed amongst the greatest moments, right?
Well, one that I was thinking of with AEW was Cody versus Dustin at their first pay-per-view when it was brother versus brother, and then they hugged, and then like, I need a tag partner. Like that was their first, oh shit, this is something that we can get behind. You could argue that was their first big match. You could also argue the tag match at Revolution when it was Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Some people say that's the greatest tag team match of all time. So
I still think
too.
I immediately go to NWO, and I know we all talk about, the Hogan heel turn, the surprise reveal. To me, near as equally a big a moment was the very first pop-off of the Scott Hall showing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just grabbing the mic and being like, forget what you heard. You know who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything was suddenly like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you're acknowledging that we're like, like all of that was suddenly like just a holy shit moment. I think it gets lost compared to the like Hogan, right? Like, I think that moment was just kind of like, oh shit, everything is different now.
I'll give you one more now that we're kind of talking about in-ring stuff that I don't think is talked about enough. 6, Sean Waltman coming back to WWE as X-Pac, because here's the real transitional moment for WWF at the time is obviously you had Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna, and then Rick Rude as your DX, right? They go into WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels is too injured to continue, so he needs to take time off. If X-Pac and then Road Dogg and Billy Gunn
Outlaws
joining, right? If they join and it flops, then that's the end of DX. Like, they're done. But X-Pac cuts that promo where he says, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall are being held hostage, and gets a kind of big time promo. But then later on in the night, the New Age Outlaws join, and then you say, here's version 2 of DX. If that sucks, then that's done.
Yeah, but it did lend, because in that moment, the whole wrestling scene was dominated by this WCW versus WWF kind of idea, right? What people wish this AEW WWE thing was is what it was back then. And so him coming over and now being able to like shit talk the other side, because that's what was going on over there, right? Like the WWF people were going from WWF to WCW, and they were all like, oh, now we get to say fuck him, and like this guy who ruled over us with an iron fist, fuck him, right? And now we're all getting paid. Well, this was one of the first coming back the other way. Another one that reminds me there is the Jericho like reveal, because he was kind of that first like, okay, now somebody's going from here over to there, because now it's different, right? The old stars were going over there to kind of like get the spotlight over there. Here was a guy that was getting washed under saying, no, I think the grass will be greener over there, actually, right? He was kind of one of those first defectors too, and that was a big moment. Yeah.
But I just think like if X-Pac comes in and just goes, I'm X-Pac and we're here to beat people up, and everyone goes, that kind of sucked.
Yeah,
then like there's so much DX moments that never would happen. The invasion, remember when they took the fucking tank and went to WCW? So many of those things gets thrown out the window because it didn't happen. You know what I mean? So that X-Pac promo was pretty monumental in retrospect for
100%
the Attitude Era.
We would also like to know what you thought of what Ash said in his call. Like, what were your big moments that you think aren't talked about enough amongst the great moments? Send those into tableshow@gmail.com or just talk on Twitter, tableshow. Tell us. Jeffrey Sills here in the chat, which, by the way, you can chat along with us live on the YouTube live streams. We do this Thursday nights. He says, oh, shit, did not think you guys were doing a show today because of Tim going to Germany, which we discussed earlier. You already heard. Tom's going to Germany. Tom is going to go over there to Germany, and he's going to will the Kansas City Chiefs to a large victory while he's there. But no, that'll be next week, and there may be a show. I think I'm going to do it. We'll see, right? Maybe I get up and my fucking, maybe my neck hurts. Yeah, fuck it. All right, Tom, are you ready? This trip that Ash Hendrickson is on, thinking of all these historical moments, has got me in the mood to continue that kind of journey, to hop in the Spanish Announce time machine and go back in time. And I'm excited to talk about what happened on this day in pro wrestling history. You ready for some history lessons, Tom?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
All right. On this day, October 30th, 2019. Not going too far back on this one.
Okay.
AEW Dynamite aired from Charleston, West Virginia. Adam Page defeated Sammy Guevara. The Best Friends of Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent defeated Alex Silver, John Reynolds, and Cutie Marshall in a 6-man tag match. Hey guys, we haven't heard from Cutie in a while. The Elite of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks defeated Angelico, Jack Evans, and Kip Sabian in a 6-man tag match. The main event featured the finals of the AEW Tag Team Championship Tournament, where the Lucha Bros lost to the first ever AEW tag team champions.
It is well, so are we wanting to call them SCU or are we going to call them Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian?
Well,
Because it was
we'll
kind of like
both. We'll call them both. Yeah, it was SCU, specifically Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. They didn't Freebirds this title, right? Like, these were the dudes. Yeah, that was AEW Dynamite number 5, right? That was still when I was kind of like, what is this thing? Are we going to like this? Is this going to be good? Because, you know, everybody knows here that's been watching us for a while, we're the biggest Young Buck fans in that whole, you know,
I still don't like
crew. Yeah,
I respect him now. Look, I used to really hate him because I despised what they said they were because they couldn't prove it on legitimate stages, right? If you're doing PWG shows in front of 200 people in a bingo hall, and then you want to say, we're the best of all time, go sit on a dick. But if you're going to put on a television show, have constraints of commercial breaks and other segments, and then you do your shit in there, well, now I respect you. I still wouldn't like them, I think. Like, if I met them, I'd want to get out of here. Like, I don't want them. But
yeah,
my disdain for them has definitely lessened, and I respect what they do. I still just, I like your friends. I like Kenny and Hangman. Let's hang out with those guys. Let's push you to the side.
Yeah, if it was one of those where it's like, hey, you're going to share a seat with them for a 4-hour bus ride or something, be like,
Oop, not going to do it.
And everybody's cell phone is dead, so you're all going to talk.
We ain't talking about shit, boy. We ain't saying nothing.
Can't even Wordle? Fuck.
Yep.
All right. You ready, Tom, to go?
Hell yeah.
All right, let's see what happened. October 31st, 1989. WWF taped Saturday Night Main Event in Topeka, Kansas. The Ultimate Warrior retained the Intercontinental title when his opponent Andre the Giant was disqualified. The Genius defeated Hulk Hogan via countout.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, what
the fuck? Dusty Rhodes defeated the Big Boss Man. Mr. Perfect defeated the Red Rooster. And the main event saw the Rockers win a 2 out of 3 falls tag team match against which tag team in what would prove to be that highly successful tag team's final time ever tagging together?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Rockers, 89. Main event, Saturday Night Main Event, taped about a month early in Topeka, Kansas at the Expo Center. Remember the Expo Center?
Well, yeah. Now, you're saying that their opponents, that was their last time tagging
Their last time ever tagging together. Very highly successful tag team, been tagging together for years, if not decades.
I would guess the Hart Foundation?
Good guess. It is not the Hart Foundation.
Okay, one more. Let me give it.
Yeah,
let me one more. Highly successful, but then they went their separate ways. The Rockers took them on. Fuck, that's a hard one because, like, you go to Demolition, you go to LOD.
I'll give you a hint. Even recently, within a few years back, we were thinking there was a possibility they might tag one more time.
Is it the Brainbusters?
It is the Brainbusters. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Yeah, I thought that might get you there. Yes. Yeah, 89. I wouldn't have guessed that's when they called it the quits, but I guess when they were done with their WWF run, maybe they didn't.
Well, again, rumor, so take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
But I think the consensus, peeking behind the curtain, was Tully Blanchard tested positive for cocaine, and so then they said, get the fuck out. So that's what I remember. Now, I could have misquoted it to someone else, but I think because when Arn Anderson goes back to WCW, Tully didn't go. Tully kind of just went in the wind. So I think that's what happened. But man, the Brainbusters were so fucking cool, especially when they had Bobby Heenan, because neither guy could really, I mean, Tully could cut a good promo, but Heenan was on a different level, you know? So he just added that juice to the fucking awesomeness of what the Brainbusters were. I still wish timing would have worked out and Flair comes over, they're there, and then you get another, and then you have the 4 horsemen in WCW or in WWE. That would have been pretty amazing. Incredible. Yeah.
That would have been fun. All right. Topeka. Who knew? The death of the Brainbusters. A lot of things go to Topeka to die. So
that ain't, yeah. You ain't lying there.
Yeah. November 1st, 2005. This is your prime right here. WWE traveled to San Diego, California to air the second and final version of this pay-per-view type, which featured Kane and the Big Show defeating Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch for the World Tag Team titles, Batista defeating Jonathan Coachman in a street fight. Trish Stratus retaining the women's title in a Fulfill Your Fantasy Battle Royal against Ashley Mazzaro, Candice Michelle, Maria Kanellis, Mickie James, and Victoria. Don't even want to know what that was supposed to mean. Ric Flair retained the United States title, defeating Triple H in a steel cage match, and John Cena retaining the WWE title in a triple threat against Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. So again, this is the second and final version of this kind of pay-per-view. Never to be done again after this one.
Because of the Coach and Batista, my mind went to Taboo Tuesday.
It is Taboo Tuesday, right? Where the fans would vote on something, right? It was like a stipulation or an opponent or a whatever, right?
Now, I read Brian Gwart's book. He was the head writer for Raw during this time period. And one thing he mentions is Vince McMahon was adamant that everything on Taboo Tuesday or any fan voting was legitimate. There was no, well, hey, it's Batista versus, Shawn Michaels, but then everyone voted for a Coach and like, nope, we're going with Shawn. Everything from his account was legit because Vince wanted the spontaneous he wanted it to be as spontaneous backstage as it was for us as the fan.
Which
so
makes
he was
sense. And I recall thinking when watching these, I was like, yeah, I feel like they might be legit, but I do feel like they give you some options to try to swing it some ways. And sometimes it was like the same thing. It was like a no-holds-barred match, a street fight, or, you know what I mean, false count anywhere. And I was like, that's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Goddamn thing.
Yeah, so from his account, he always said it was legit. Vince liked it to put the wrestlers on their toes because he thought it was kind of a rib to him, to the wrestlers, right? He was like,
Coach in a street fight. Gave it away for you.
I did.
Taboo Tuesday. I love it. All right. Back in time. All right. Let's see what happened. November 2nd, 1998. WWF Monday Night Raw was held in Houston, Texas. The Brood wrestled to a no-contest draw against the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac. Road Warrior Hawk wrestled to a no-contest draw against Draws. Goldust. Draws.
That was that was such a bad storyline because that was when Draws was kicking Hawk out of the Legion of Doom, and Hawk was like, I'm an alcoholic, and he jumps off the fucking Titantron. Anyhow.
Yeah, real bad. Well, Goldust wrestled to a no-contest draw against Steven Regal. The Headbangers wrestled to a no-contest draw against Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown. Ken Shamrock was disqualified in his match against The Rock. And Jeff Jarrett was disqualified in his match against Val Venus. I didn't like any finishes at this time. Just didn't like finishing matches. But this episode is most remembered for a backstage segment where Vince McMahon gifted an item to Mankind. And this item would prove to be an iconic item in the WWF/WWE universe for many years to come. Whoops.
Yeah, my bad. I was thinking initially, so Socko was Mankind's own thing when Vince was in the hospital. Vince gave McFoley, Mankind, the Hardcore Championship.
Hardcore Championship, right here.
Which I don't know if it was proven or not, but everything that I heard was that title was actually the title that Mr. Perfect destroyed when Hogan was champion. Now, who knows if that's true or not.
They just taped it up. It might have been. They might have just had it in the thing. And he's like, I can tape it up. Throw it together. It'll look good.
Yeah. So.
Who knows? Maybe
if
not.
But if you know if it was or not, send us an email or, join us in the chat and let us know.
All right. Well, this next one's going to be real easy. And in fact, we're not going we're staying in the same year. We're just moving ahead a day. We're going to see what happens on November 3rd, 1998. You already know the answer to this one. In one of the most shocking, unforeseen political upsets in United States history happened when this eventual WWE Hall of Famer was elected as governor of Minnesota.
Oh, Jesse Ventura.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
I was so happy.
Yeah, at the time I was like, all right. Yeah.
I was like, wrestling motherfuckers, what up? Everyone makes fun of us saying we're stupid. Fuck you. I'm moving to Minnesota. I remember telling people, it's like, I'm moving to Minnesota. I bet you wrestling's going to be great there. Now, look, he had his faults.
Yeah.
I always felt like he was well-intentioned, right?
Oh, of course. He is well-intentioned.
Yeah.
Conspiratorial at times, right? He's very, yeah. But
now he's not down the rabbit hole of current conspiracy theory people, but yeah, everything had a little bit of a curve of like, I'm 90% with you, brother.
Yeah.
Like,
he would be like, we need to do this thing and this thing, and we should be taking care of these people. I'll be like, you're right. And he'd be like, and the government doesn't want you to know that because they're trying to, it's like, all right, dude, come on, man. It was like, can we just do the thing that you said? Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Jesse. Yeah. All right. So that was our fun trip. What'd you think?
Oh, that's fun. I love it. I love doing this. It makes me so happy just to think back. And if I get one right, like again, I didn't get it initially, but getting the brain busters right, that's always fun. I love doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
a little upset we didn't get the brain busters, the one last, let's get them in there and brain bust somebody. They probably can't get somebody to do the thing.
Well, man, if you go back to All Out, here's the thing about AEW that's hard for me. Everything's so fucking cool that it kind of blends together, because with WWE, for the most part, and again, if you disagree with me, I don't give a shit.
You're wrong.
Yeah. But WWE, for the most part, fucking sucks so bad that when they do happen to do the cool thing, it's monumental in your brain, right? Sami Zayn hitting Roman Reigns in the back with the chair at SummerSlam stands out, right? Because the previous 4 weeks, they didn't do shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they just kept saying, like, he's going to hit him. It's like, all right, well.
Yeah. But with AEW, like we're going to talk about, here in a minute, there's so many things that are awesome where you're like, oh, that was so fucking cool. And then you get like 6 months away from it and you're like, well, wait a minute. So did MJF beat up Juice Robinson the same night as, no, that's not right. So Adam Cole, and everything gets jumbled because it's so fucking cool every time. Again, they have misses, but for the most part, it's fucking hitting home runs.
I have not once, I felt like, watched a Dynamite and at the end been like, probably could have went without that, right?
Right. There's definitely been episodes and even moments where you're like, oh, that could have been better, right? Ugh, shit. But I've never once thought, I don't want to watch this next week. Yeah. It got close. There was a close moment back when I still remember this episode because it was so bad. This is, I think, their worst episode. If you go back during the pandemic era and when the episode ended with Mike Tyson and Henry Cejudo and Rashad Evans coming in to like attack Jericho, I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? We ain't
the callback from the first Jericho Tyson thing in that one.
Yeah, right? In WWE. Yeah. And I was like, no, don't fucking I don't want Henry Cejudo in here. He's cringe. And I was like, fuck that. But then they got back on track.
I was starting when I loved Dan Lambert's inclusion, but when he started bringing all his merry band of dude that all sucked, I was like, I don't want this, right? I would love Dan Lambert, but let's get rid of everybody he wants to tag along with him here.
Exactly. I don't need Arlovsky or Junior Dos Santos, all salt of the earth, great human beings, but I don't need those motherfuckers. That's
probably why we don't have Dan Lambert around. It's probably because he was like, listen, I'm only here to promote. You know what I mean? Like, if I can't have my dudes, and they're like, all right, fine.
Oh, what if he's the devil? What if he's the devil and he brings in his group? That would be easy.
We're going to talk a lot about who is the devil tonight.
Let's get right into
it. Dynamite. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So let's get right into it. So, AEW Dynamite. Go ahead.
This is a great moment for all of you podcast listeners. Look, we love you podcast listeners, but like you should be watching the live streams. But podcast listeners, you can pause the podcast. You can go to SpanishAnnounceTable.net and click the buy a t-shirt link. Buy a t-shirt that helps support us. You get a nice t-shirt. It's from Pro Wrestling Tees. Everything's great. They operate so well. But anyway, AEW Dynamite. Tom, I loved this episode. What'd you think?
Well, it kicked off at a 10, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, this was a 10 right from the jump. We get MJF backstage with Renee Paquette, and he goes, let's just cut to the chase. I'm going to call a friend. And he calls Adam Cole. And Adam Cole answers. And as soon as he's like, Adam, hey, friend, pal, Roderick Strong and the Kingdom come in, and there it is yelling, Adam. And then MJF like hangs up. He's like, God damn it. Yeah. And Roderick Strong just straight up says to MJF, hey, I think you're the devil. I think you're the one dressing up like the devil.
We're going to pretend like it's not.
Right. And he goes, and because of our mutual best friend, we'll help you out. And MJF is like, oh, cool. And Roderick Strong, for some reason, still in a wheelchair, even though he's wrestled.
Yeah. It's his neck that hurts when he's in a wheelchair. Yeah.
Right. And he's wrestled. We've seen him wrestle and then put it back on. But MJF walks up to him. He's like,
have to rest it, Tom. Me? That's why he can wrestle. It's because he rests it.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's science. Mm-hmm. But MJF walks up to him and then goes like,
science. Graphic. Yeah.
But he walks up to him. He's like, oh, you really going to help me out? That's great. And he just wheels him off site and just off camera. And then he gets right into the camera's face.
I love the Keystone Cops reactions from the
the Kingdom.
Where they're like, fucking stumbling out of there and don't even try to like defend their friend.
Well, they got to get their friend. He's going down
he's going to die. Yeah, he's going to roll off down the cliff. Yeah. Yeah.
So then MJF turns his attention to the camera and he lets the Bullet Club Gold, the Gangbang Gang, he lets them know, I'm going to fuck up Juice Robinson. And guess what? Jay White, it is on your hands. This blood that is about to spill is your fault. And we get right to it. So Juice Robinson comes out with the Ass Boys and they're like, yeah, we're cool. MJF walks out and there ain't no fucking look at me. Hey, it's run right to the ring and fucking up Juice Robinson. So, Tim, what'd you think of the backstage interview segment? And what did you think about the Dynamite Diamond Ring finale match, I guess is what we're calling it?
Loved the opening segment and took me off guard because we don't normally do that with Dynamite. It's normally fireworks. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. And let's get to the match, right? Yeah. So it threw me. I was like, "Oh, this kind of feels like a collision or a whatever, right?" And then, him getting fired up, right, saying, "I want to shoot you," basically is what he told him, right, something along those lines. And then we get into this match, right, and MJF is fired up, ready to fight, right, and the match was awesome, right. I liked this. We've talked about this where MJF, he can make the mundane parts of matches feel like the big parts, right? The storytelling in there was great. I liked how, I don't know if you saw the shit-eating grin he had when he like gets the real ring on, right?
Oh yeah.
And he goes and knocks him out. Just a whole lot going on, right? The rest were involved with the Ass Boys and all the in and out. Like all of this was really well planned out and they hit their marks really well. I thought this was really well done. As far as like the Dynamite Diamond Ring thing, I don't like at some point, because it's MJF's thing now that like I kind of feel like I don't know that I want it to exist later when MJF's done with using it, right? Like I don't know that it means anything now after him, right?
Yeah, so I honestly thought going into this, Juice Robinson would win, and we would continue the story of the dismantling of the MJF, on his high horse.
Everything you have,
right? Everything you had. So now the diamond ring's gone. You don't even possess your championship. And going into the pay-per-view, it was going to be essentially what I thought. Yeah.
Could have got the tag team title belt too. We could have just started stealing things from him week by week, right?
Well, and we'll get to the post-match here in just a second, but yeah, I thought it was going to be everything is taken away from MJF. And then here's how I thought it was going to go down. I thought Juice was going to win this. Then I thought the Ass Boys, not at the pay-per-view, I thought it was going to be like a collision, would beat MJF for the tag titles. Then he doesn't possess his own title. So he's going into the pay-per-view, crying into his beer. And that's when Adam Cole comes back and he's like, hey, man, what are you doing? You're the best in the world. And then MJF is like, that's right. I got my best friend. And then he just fucks up Jay White that night. And then we get a hug again from Adam Cole and MJF, and friendship wins, and that's how we end the pay-per-view. I thought that's where we were going.
With Adam Cole staring at the title a little too long.
A little bit, right? But he's still got his foot all fucked up. So
just a little bit. Just like a tiny little,
yeah.
There you
always.
Go. Yeah.
I always think he should do that. So, but we didn't get that, right? So MJF wins the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I think a good story, moving forward is because at a certain point, MJF is going to be the veteran, right? Like he's in his prime right now. He was the up and comer. Now he's in his prime, but there's going to be a moment where he becomes veteran, and you get someone who is the new MJF to be like, oh, you did that in your first year? I'm doing it my first week, and he wins it, something like that. And then MJF is like, who the fuck is this guy? Something like that would be cool.
Well, and this blew up a little bit at the end, right? Or did that come later in the show? That was after this,
no,
right?
The first 30 minutes is MJF's world getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, MJF, the theme of tonight is MJF ain't got no friends, right?
Well, MJF, yeah, MJF has a lot of targets on him. So MJF wins the match. As soon as it's over, the Ass Boys attack him, so they're beating him up. Then the Kingdom half-ass go in there, and they're like, we'll try to fight you. And the Ass Boys kind of puff their chest up, and so the Kingdom's like, oh, man, we fall down.
Yeah, they powder out real quick. Yeah, they dismantle them in short order. Just whoop. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But the Kingdom's still standing around, right? It's not like they're like, we tried.
Yeah, the Ass Boys.
Right. So then that brings out the Acclaimed, and the Acclaimed do clear out the ring. So they clear out the gangbang group, and they go up to the top of the stage. Jay White, to his credit, because I like what Jay White did here, because Jay White acknowledged all the other targets. He said, don't think about Samoa Joe. Don't think about Kenny Omega. Don't think about your friends, Adam Cole.
Not living
and all
in his own bubble. He's like, I see what you got going on.
But focus on me. I am the real threat. Yeah. I liked what he said there.
Which is great, right? And it makes for a great wrestling promo, right? But this is where you have to suspend some of your disbelief. It's because, you wouldn't want him focusing on you. You want him, you want him distracted on all the folks.
Yeah, but I think more so of what he was saying is I'm the boogeyman. I'm going to get you.
You're distracted with all them, but you don't need to worry about them because it's gonna be me before it's them.
Right, exactly.
So don't worry about them.
Yeah. So now,
relax, guy. I'm here to help you. You don't got to worry about them because it's gonna be me that fucking murders you.
And that's essentially what he said, right? And so then MJF takes the mic and goes, you know what, you asshole? You 4 versus me and 3 friends, and we're gonna fight. And so then gangbang group's like, cool, all right, bye. Oh well, I apologize. Then the Ass Boys grab the microphone and says, hey, we want your Ring of Honor world titles. Why not at the pay-per-view? We wrestle you for it. And MJF's like, deal. Fuck you.
Fine.
Got it. Sure. And so before we get into all the other stuff, let's stop right here real quick. Do you think it's again another 2-on-1 where MJF defends both titles by himself? Or, and I'm fast forwarding a little bit, we'll get to it, but fast forwarding a little bit, later on in this episode, Samoa Joe walks up to MJF and says, I'll be your friend. And MJF's like, cool. And then Samoa Joe says, the condition is that I get my rematch. So do you think Samoa Joe fills in that spot that Adam Cole had?
Probably, now that you mentioned that. So I took that in the moment, which by the way was an awesome moment, and Samoa Joe killed that moment, and so did MJF. But I thought it was just one of those another target on your back. He needs to find 3 people, be Joe and some people, right? But I didn't think about that. That fits better. Joe's going to be his tag team partner for the tag match because he's ROH. And then I still think it's the Ass Boys and Gunn maybe that fill in for the other 3 when he needs the 4-on-4. I'm not still sure where we're going with that one yet. Because he's got to find. So he's got to find 3 people for the 4-on-4. I still kind of think it's going to wind up being the Ass Boys and Billy Gunn that he picks.
The Acclaimed.
Oh yeah, excuse me, the Acclaimed. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, the Acclaimed.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I think it's gonna be the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. Ass. I'm thinking ass, right? I got ass on my mind.
Who
So I
isn't?
was thinking
Who
ass
isn't?
boys.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
amongst us?
Who isn't thinking about ass?
Replace
You know what I mean?
random words with ass. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. But I don't know. That was an interesting part of this is when, he's like, all right, you find 3 people, and that's when he's like, I love that when he's like Maxwell or whatever, when Roddy's like Max, and he's like, dude, I'm right here. Stop fucking yelling at me. Like, what are you doing? What? And he was like, you're gonna pick us, right? And he's like, fuck no, right? Like disputes them and or just dismisses them in short order. And then we get Max Caster, right, saying, so it's us, right? And he's like, fuck no, like I don't like you, like ever, never, right? Paraphrasing here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the best part of this is Caster's like tries to convince him anyway, gives him the scissors. He doesn't like hit his hand away. He doesn't whatever. He closes the scissors. And that sets Billy Gunn off. If you didn't see that, he's like, you motherfucker. Like he was ready. Close the fucking scissors, man. Yeah. Oh, that was interesting because he's our scumbag, right? And he's the face now, but he's our scumbag. But like, that is heart-stabbing moment to somebody, right? Max Caster has had best intentions, just likes this guy, and he's like, I've never liked you. And Caster took it in stride, right? He had his ever smile on his face, but there's more to go there, right? They're gonna either turn on MJF at some point, or he's gonna like give in and see something in them, right? I don't know which way we're going here with this. So there's a wild card. Who's he going to pick? Like, who's going to be his 3 folks?
I don't know. I really don't know, especially talking about later in the episode when Samoa Joe said he'll be his friend, because then you would think, well, that's one spot and Acclaimed are 3 people, right? The act is 3 people, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, one of them's out. Now that could happen. And MJF could say, yeah, I've got Bowens and Billy Gunn, but Max, like, you're not in. It's Samoa Joe, Bowens, and Billy Gunn. Max, stay in the back. You're too weird.
This is a perfect setup, Tom. We forgot to mention in the first opening segment, there was a flash of the devil. And there's a lot of mentioning of MJF being the devil. Is Max Caster the devil?
No, I don't think so.
That would be one of the coolest twists to all of this if Max Caster was the devil.
It would. That would be, and it could, look, I'm not saying 100% no way, because
their act is so hot right now. It's hard to pull them away. But
if we take a moment to take a step back, we have talked about, hey, scissoring's fun and your rap is always cool, but we kind of know what's going to happen.
We get
each
it now,
week, right?
Yeah, we get it.
So if the devil and his, demons are the trios champions, well, who the fuck's going to beat them, right? Then they become a different type of champion. So I'm not saying it won't happen. My thought, if we're going to talk real quick about who the devil is, and we'll get back into the rest of the fallout after this match, because there's a ton more to talk about. My gut, and I have no facts, I don't read any fucking Wade Meltzer bullshit. But, there's someone that's been missing who's pretty controversial. And if you just brought him back and said, hey, this week he's back, it'd be kind of underwhelming and people want to boo him. So my gut keeps saying that the devil is Jack Perry. Because if you go back, MJF, especially when it was the 4 Pillars match, MJF kept hammering home, Jungle Boy, if you just give in, like, you would take this whole company over. Well, he got rid of CM Punk, right? That could be the narrative. He got rid of CM Punk. And now who can stop me? I got rid of your biggest threat.
Yeah.
I did give in to what you said, Max. I'm the fucking devil.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm coming for you, right? You thought you
were
the devil?
I think it's one of those things of like, thank you for letting me see it your way. But then, I'm taking out. I don't know.
Gotcha. I don't hate the idea
maybe.
of like, I mean, I know he's the devil, right? We're calling MJF the devil, and that's probably going to stick. That's going to be a thing that he'll use forever. But like, I don't hate the idea of like the devil mask being like stolen often, and like it's always a wild card of like we don't know who the fuck was behind the devil mask when we see the devil mask.
Yeah, it's the most intriguing thing, because the other thing that I like that some people online when I'm live tweeting do not like is that we're not being hit over the head with this, right? It's not every week when MJF comes out, we see the devil thing. It's subtle. It's here. A couple weeks
There's a
it
major
wasn't
wild
here.
card, but they don't reference it even really. The announcers never even talk about it.
Well, yeah, and there's a week where it doesn't get mentioned, and then it gets mentioned twice, like in last night's episode, and then the week before, nothing again. So like, it's
not
subtle.
to shit talk WWE all the time, but like we would get the Snickers recap and it would show the mask and fucking like, okay, we know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The Slim Jim sponsored devil mask, right? It would be some bullshit like that. Yeah. They fucking suck.
Brought to you by Speed Stick.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Are you the devil but need to smell good? Speed Stick. And he's like, oh, I'm the devil. Hey, I smell good. Ugh. I can get some women, right? Anyhow. So yeah, I do not know
green.
I do not know who the devil is, but there's still so much more to unpack here. So as you mentioned, Max kind of says no to everyone, which one point I wanted to say about that is, as you've said, he is our scumbag, right? The thing that I like about the MJF character that I've said a couple times on the podcast is he's not doing the babyface trope where, well, I'm a good guy and you're a good guy, so we're all friends. He's like,
automatically
no.
friends. It's understood. We'll tag team together. No questions asked. Right.
Nope. Fuck that. Right.
Don't like you, dude.
Like it.
Yeah. Right.
Nope. Not for it. Right.
Don't forget all the shit you said about me fucking 2 years ago. Fuck you.
All your weird massages when I'm doing something else, fuck you. Right. So I like that MJF stays true to who he is. He's not just babyface. I'm babyfaces. So that we get that, right? So he shuts the scissors. He walks up to the stage and he's going to the back.
Shut the scissors, the back.
So he's going to the back, and then we hear Kenny Omega's music hit. And we get, and I believe, I don't know if this is to be true, but to me it is, because my memory is kind of bad, but also kind of good. I think this is the first stare down on AEW television of MJF and Kenny Omega.
Well, when he did the 13 days, bitch, but like in the arena in front of the crowd, perhaps. Yeah. Perhaps.
Yeah, that's what I'm not a backstage, like a real, like we could fight,
Oh, and this was big. This felt big time. This felt big moment. Before they said a word, this felt big. I was like, oh shit. I like paused everything I was doing. I was like, all right, what are we watching here?
Well, and what's so cool about this is the story, let me take a step back here. One criticism that I think is valid to a certain extent is there's a lot of shotgun storytelling, right? Willer Yuta says that Ricky Starks is kind of a shit person, so they're going to wrestle in 2 days on the pay-per-view. What the hell is that about, right? But this one has a story built in. Kenny Omega says, hey, I want to defend my streak of being the longest AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Right. You're about to break it, so I don't want that to happen, so give me a match. And he asked for a match. And MJF, boy, I tell you what, he was like Jim Carrey and Yes Man and just saying yes to fucking everything. And he says, yeah, let's do it. Collision Saturday night. And Kenny Omega ends the little stare down with 3 days, bitch, and walks off.
Dude, I loved everything about this. And I'm not even like the hugest Kenny Omega guy, right? So, but I just, the moment, right? Like we know the moment. And again, Collision, it fits into the time frame. That's the only thing I would have fixed is Kenny Omega would have said, Collision is the day, right? Like Max just knew, fine, Collision, right? Like, so I thought that's the only thing I would have switched there. But like, it was great. It was brief, right? We didn't need a lot of back and forth. This also, and again, this continues throughout the night. The story we're telling here is, like you said, there's a lot of targets on Max, but he can't take a step. He can't be like, all right, and fuck you. Now I'm going to go over here. And he turns around and there's a motherfucker in his face being like, tick, tick, motherfucker, I'm coming for you. And he's like, Jesus Christ, fine, bitch, right? And he sidesteps that guy. And then there's another big motherfucker and he's like, I'm going to eat you for lunch. And he's just like, fuck, this sucks. And be like, but what we also like about the MJF character is that he's got the confidence, right? Even when you see the worry in his face for a moment, he's got the confidence. It's like, fine, whatever. I will figure it out and I will fucking beat you, right? Like, by hook or by crook, I'm going to get there. It's just so amazingly well done, right? He can't turn around. He can't do a promo. He can't go see the doctor backstage without somebody coming up and being like, I'm on your ass. And it's just like, he's got nowhere to turn, right? Got no. His only friend in the world is hurt, and he's got nowhere to turn. Albeit, he is turning down some folks, right? Different reasons, but he's turning down friendships.
Yes, he is. And maybe that's what the lesson is learning that you can have more than just one friend in Adam Cole. We'll see what that story is. The thing that I liked about the stare down between Kenny Omega and MJF is, to your point, I'm not. Kenny Omega's the best. I think he's fine. Yeah. He's fun. He's definitely grown on me, right? But it's the representation of two different, for lack of a better term, pillars in this company.
Yeah, pillars. Mm-hmm.
And now they're coming face to face. It would be as if, to use a WWE reference, in my opinion, what would be cool is if Roman Reigns and Gunther went face to face, just randomly. Just we saw Imperium and the Bloodline, and you're like, what the fuck? That is awesome.
So that's the thing is right? We're talking already. We're like, this MJF story is so crazy. He can't turn around. He's doing this. This person's saying this. He's got to decide between these people. Why is this weird guy all creepy, massaging him all the time? And like all these things. And then, also in walks one of the biggest names in wrestling who says, hey, my streak of longest reigning champion here is on the line. Let's do it on the day of, right? Like how does that fucking happen? And let's just it's like, that just is a quick sidebar amongst the thing. It's a main event match of any other pay-per-view in any other setting. But we're just like, throw this in there too. Fucking chaos for Max.
Yeah. Well, let's throw on a little bit more chaos. So after that segment ends, we go to a commercial break. We come back. And here's Wardlow, and he's running the Rocky stairs.
Wardlow, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about Wardlow. Yeah.
And Wardlow says, he talks about essentially going to a dark place. And then he watched MJF become the face of this company, the main event of the biggest show of all time. And now he wants revenge, and he's going to take everything from MJF because he remembers when he wrestled MJF, it was 4 power bombs and a foot on your chest. I'm flexing 1, 2, 3, and you go off on a stretcher, right?
Yep.
So now we have Wardlow also saying, I'm going to kill you.
This was the best thing we've ever gotten from Wardlow. Now, this is a vignette, right? So we had a lot of take twos here, I'm sure. But now this makes sense. There should be a lot of these guys who are like, I'm sorry, excuse me. He's your fucking guy? Do you know? You saw what he did to me? Like, this is your fucking guy? No more, right? Like, people should be going crazy over that. And Wardlow being one of them makes the most sense. Again, it makes the most sense, but pro wrestling folklore tells us that we have to immediately have those two square off and do something about it. But nope, he's one of 17 motherfuckers beating down MJF's door, waiting for him in parking lots and shit.
Yeah, and so now we're going to see a different type of story told from Wardlow, a slow burn, I would guess.
Yep. And
it's all going at, it reminds me of the scary movies when
Wardlow
Jason.
The devil.
No, I don't think. Ooh, no. Now this is me just looking. The person who's the devil,
skinny,
is not as big. Yeah.
Right.
Now that's just, but it could be, right? Fuck it. Put a mask on everyone, you know?
Well, I would have somebody pose if I was trying to throw him off the scent too, right? Like, hey, I can pose in this mask real quick and then we'll set this video. Yeah.
So what I like about the Wardlow story, it is, I believe it's going to be a slow burn. I don't think we're going to get a match with MJF and Wardlow in 3 weeks, right? Nothing like that. But it's my old behavior is coming back to bite me in the ass, right? The person I used to be, well, I'm not that anymore. That doesn't mean you get to keep walking.
You did it. Yeah, you did it to me. I remember.
Yeah, and so now we got to have that it's like one of those things where you lie and try to get away with the situation, and then you're like, oh, I would never do that again. That was so bad of me.
Because you could
but
even
then
have
the lie
MJF.
comes.
Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean, yeah.
I was gonna say, but then the lie comes out,
Yeah.
in front of everyone, and you're like, but I'm not that person, and everyone's like, dude, you fucking suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh man.
So this is the great thing, because MJF could even be like, why are you after me? Like, you already beat me. Like, you know what I mean? You got your revenge. I'll be like, yeah, but then I saw you succeeding, and the point was not to just beat you, to fucking make you fail in life, and that's what I'm here to do. So this is forever now.
Well, and what's interesting is, currently Wardlow is just a man on a mission, right? He's not babyface or heel. He's just saying his intention, and he beats up jobbers, which is as pedestrian as it can get, right? The interesting part about this is, do we then now run this back MJF Wardlow, but roles are reversed? Wardlow becomes this obsessive maniac, and then almost starts to get his ego out of check, where he's like, but I'm the greatest. No one can fucking look at me. Yeah, I'm the best, and you're like,
he starts powerbombing people too much, and we're like, dude, stop, please. This man has a family.
Like, well, yeah, because one thing that I could see that easily would happen as this slow burn starts to get a little hotter is he's power bombing. Let's just say it's Ortiz. Ortiz is a babyface, right? He power bombs him, and then he power bombs him, and then he power bombs him, and the ref is like, stop. And he's like, motherfucker, it's your turn then. And then he power bombs the ref, and then he power bombs him. Yeah, and then he's like, yeah, well. You know what I would do? Ooh, you know what I would do? You know what I would do? You know what I would do for funsies?
Powerbomb Aubrey. Is that where you're gonna go? I knew that's where you were gonna go. Yeah. Yeah.
Again.
So you could do that, right? So he then starts powerbombing the refs. A bunch of other refs come out to stop it. He powerbombs another one. He powerbombs another one. He powerbombs another. Oops. That was Aubrey. Whoops. Don't care. Powerbombing the next one. Powerbombing the next one, right? And we're all just like, the whole crowd would stop. You know what I mean?
Okay, so he did this once. Remember when Mark Sterling was like Wardlow versus 23 referees and security guards, right? So we've done that a little bit.
That's true.
So here's the little tweak that I would do. Okay, so he's power bombing all these people, right? Power bomb. And then he goes red, right? He sees red. He's just on autopilot of violence. You know who he power bombs that stops the world in their tracks? Tony Khan.
He'd do it too. He would take that power bomb. Yeah.
But guess who comes to his rescue? The guy that said, you fucking mark, MJF. Woo! Tell me you wouldn't buy a ticket.
The corporate champion.
Oh,
the corporate
but in a different
but in a
sense,
babyface
right?
way. Yeah, right. In a different time frame. Yeah.
Oh. That would be great. Okay, let's get back.
Hire Tom.
I'm telling you, that'd be great. That would be great. All right, so now let's get back into some in-ring action. We get just some fun stuff. Again, we're in Philadelphia, and so we get the Dark Order, who is doing really good. I love their shirt that says, I can't remember what it says, but it says "Do Good," and it's Dark Order is good, but then highlighted is the D-O and then good, do good. But they're obviously heels.
Like it, yeah.
But they took on Hook, and Rob Van Dam. And yet again, there wasn't a lot of meat on the bone to this one, but yet again, Rob Van Dam wrestles as if he's 31, even though he's
old.
82 with
just ripped 5 bong hits before he came out there.
Which good. If you're taking that much violence, of course. Yeah. The thing that I thought was fun.
Started the show.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Hook and Rob Van Dam win, right? We got to get the Philly pop for Rob Van Dam. He's a legend and a legend in Philadelphia. On top of that, look at this ECW motherfuckers, right? But the thing that I thought was interesting, and even I think Excalibur brought it up, is you started to see like a little smile from Hook. He's like, "Hey, look, it's me." Yeah.
Did we got a little bit of Hook?
You're like, "Hey, bud, that's not you."
You know, you mentioned this. There wasn't a whole lot of meat on the bone to this, right? It was what it was. It was to get the Philly crowd into it. We had a big moment before that. We've got to kind of get everybody back into a fun environment. And we've got Hook. And so I'm kind of half tuning out kind of what's going on, doing some other things, kind of, keeping an eye on what's going on. But, Excalibur hit the line a couple times, the cold-hearted, handsome devil hook, right? The cold-hearted, handsome devil hook. You seen him do anything cold-hearted since he's been here? I feel like we need something now from Hook, right? Like, his face, everybody's behind him, but like, can we get something? I feel like he hasn't done anything, right?
Yeah, I feel like what they're trying to say is he's a man on his own. That's the cold-hearted. It's not
silent, he's brooding, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But to your point, if you're gonna say cold-hearted devil, then you gotta.
So again, cold-hearted, handsome devil. Let's get this dude in some suits. Like, I know that's not what he does, but like, let's get him or contemporary stylings or something, right? Let's make him a rock star, and let's do something here. Yeah.
Say his nickname one more time.
The cold-hearted, handsome devil.
What's that last word you said?
Oh, that's the devil. Oh, could it be Hook? See, this is what I love about the whodunit here. We don't know who the fuck this devil is. It could be MJF for all we fucking know. Yeah. It could be.
Yeah. Or it could be Hook. Why the fuck not? Right?
Could be Roddy Strong for all we fucking know. It could be him.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Who knows? Anyhow. A lot of fun. Rob Van Dam looks like $1 million. John Silver did great. All of them did really well. All right. So then we move on and we get the newest movie from Tony Storm, who we're informed is getting a title shot at the pay-per-view against whoever would win the match later on in the night. The thing that I thought was interesting is we get another silent film, which was done very well, but we get a butler, and the butler is, drum roll, Luther.
So
what the fuck is that?
I think this fits, right? So we wanted it to be RJ City, right? And RJ City would nail it. But RJ City, I like him in his other roles. He does so many other things well that somebody needs to be bought in for this one, right? Unless he was going to do this like, Jesus Christ, I'm only here because she's making me, it's weird, thing. And I don't know that has a whole lot of legs, right? This fits where we got somebody who's the bought-in butler, right? Shout out Belvedere, NWL. But this is perfect for, she's crazy, she thinks she's legit, got a butler, and this is way better than Luther's anything he's done before or after here for AEW. So this will go well, I think. I think he's going to be good in this role.
And it fits for Luther's character with Tony Storm. He's also fucking nuts. Because the vibe that he gives off, especially when you saw him in the silent film, is Addams Family. Remember that fucking bald guy from Addams Family? Where he's kind of creepy, but he's kind of lovable, right? He wasn't the worst thing in the world.
But this could go, this doesn't feel comedy, right? This feels a little dark. Like he's gonna help her cheat to win here.
Yeah, and he just feels as psychotic as she does, right? She's off her
she's
rocker.
Out of it. That's what I mean. So is he. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like RJ City would have to play the I'm only doing this because I'm kind of I have to, I can't. But this guy, yeah, and he'll pull off the weird and creepy.
Definitely. So we get that. Then we come back from break because that airs during the commercial break in picture in picture. Then we get Sting and Darby Allin come out. And Sting thanks Philadelphia, which, hey, I don't know the cities that Sting wrestled in by heart.
Yeah, what matters to him or not. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. When I think of Sting, I'm thinking of the Carolinas.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Atlanta, Georgia. I don't think Philadelphia. But hey, maybe there was an amazing match that I forget about that it holds a special place in his heart. But he thanks Philadelphia.
Yeah, maybe he wrestled Sid Vicious there and
who knows? He thanks Tony Khan. He says that Darby Allin is his greatest tag team partner. And even people were like, and he even said oh, you thought I was going to say Lex Luger? No, it's Darby.
Before we move on from that, and we can expand on this part later, I think that's going to be used later when his final match is against a heel Darby Allin who turned on him.
Look, the slow burn, if that happens, because you
kind of feel like it has to. What are we doing at this point if it's not?
Yeah. The hard thing with Darby Allin as a heel is it's kind of one note. And I'm not saying that his babyface is multi-layered, but here's where I would do it.
But why is he coming around with Sting on his fucking wave your hat retirement tour, right? Okay, Tom's got the
Here's what I would do. because I like this story. The story of hard choices is more interesting to me than bitter rivals. I'm not saying I don't like bitter rivals. That's awesome, right? Sabu and Taz. I love a lot of the bitter rivals. John Cena and Edge. They did great shit, right? But I like more of a story that likens itself to Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, where Shawn Michaels said, "I'm sorry, I love you, and I got to super kick you."
MJF has to determine if he's willing to give Samoa Joe a title shot because he needs backup help for an upcoming match. Like that's a choose your own adventure, fork in the road that he had to do. Like that. I think that's kind of along the lines you're talking about, right?
Well, yeah, I would put Darby Allin in the position of, if I don't beat Sting, then that means I'm fucked. So then we get Darby versus Sting, but it's Darby Allin doing the "I'm sorry, I love you" AEW version. And that's what takes Sting out, because let's get back into the segment. Tony Schiavone gets the microphone, which was great because Sting was like, "Tony wants to say something, so I guess I gotta give it to him."
Tony was like, "Hey man, I gotta like, sorry,
we can't go over, okay? We can't go over here because we got another gas bag that's about to talk."
I love because Sting was just kind of like, "Okay, Tony wants to," like, he wasn't like too upset, but I think he got it. He was like, "All right, fine, whatever." Like, I'm just the greatest, but all right.
So Tony Schiavone, and this is where phrasing could be better, because it felt weird to say that Sting's gift is a human.
It's a human being.
Here's your human, Sting. It was like, what?
Here's your 75-year-old man.
Yeah, like, what? Now, Ric Flair comes out. It seemed to me, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I don't know if Sting's this good of an actor. It seemed like Sting,
I don't think Sting knew he was there. Yeah, I don't think Sting knew he was there, because when he went to, oh shit, like we've never seen Sting act that well. We've seen Sting act surprised, and he didn't look that believable ever in his life, and even recently, right? So yeah, I don't think he knew it was there, which is crazy because they were talking. You know what I mean? Like they were able to talk, so it was fun.
Yeah, and so Ric Flair comes out and he gives all the compliments to Sting, says he's the nicest man in pro wrestling history, which is something that it seems like everyone says, from Hogan to
Might be true.
Paul White and everyone, which Paul White, I'll put a pin in that. We'll come circle back on that one. And Ric Flair is just like, "Hey, I want to be here for the last stand, the last ride for Sting." Now, I think this has something. I don't know. My gut said Ric Flair, the dirtiest player in the game, Sting's, ultimate rival, isn't just going to be like, "Let's hold hands and skip into the sunset."
Because he said, "I want to ride with you." He said, I don't want to just come here and wish you well. Like, I want to be there by your side.
There's something to it. You don't just have the dirtiest player in the game fucking, kissing babies and hugging fat chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see where we go. There's so many ways again here that we can go with this Sting story that we know at least is going to March, right? So we've got all kinds of shit yet to happen for it. It's exciting. I'm
going till November, right? Isn't Full Gear
March?
The pay-per-view?
They said it was March. No, it's Revolution, right?
Oh, okay. I got my
right. That's when he showed up. It was Revolution 2020.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's gonna,
yeah. 2021. Yep, for sure. Okay, so then Ric Flair is just, heaping praise on Sting, and cue the music. Christian Cage walks out, and man, he cuts down Flair, saying that he's a black liver. Says obviously God doesn't exist, or else Ric Flair would have been dead 20 years ago.
So spiteful. He's just so vile. He's so good.
Yeah.
Even when he's fucking up too, he's just like, you know what I mean? He's just still able to be like, fuck this guy. Like,
right. Well, and just kind of look again how I felt like, here's your human. I thought it was really funny how Christian was like, "Cool gift, Tony Khan. You got this old guy." Like,
he's like, "You're a billionaire, and your gift is a 75-year-old black liver."
Yeah, like it was great.
I love that Ric Flair too. The whole time was just like, "I love this." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he loved every moment of it.
This is what I was here for. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Ric
Christian
Flair would have
Cage-
died a happy man if he had a heart attack right there and then.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But then Christian Cage looks at Darby Allin and mocks him for his arm injury. And he's like, ha, 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 ha. And then he makes a hometown dig on the Phillies, right? I'm the champion. Phillies will never win it, right? And then Christian challenges Sting, Darby Allin, and someone else versus Broken Tooth Nick Wayne, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage.
Yeah, so who's the third man?
Well, we'll get to that because I think we know, but we'll see. So that's what we get. We get the challenge. Sting then grabs the microphone. Was like, yeah, we'll fight you. Suck it. And then there we go. So that segment ends, and we go back to a segment that was taped earlier in the day where Chris Jericho is talking to Renee Paquette and mentions, and Powerhouse Hobbs, wore me around like a hat. Like it was a one-way traffic where he just
Made me
beat
second
me up.
guess myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, you know what? There's Don Callis family. They got a lot of guys, and Powerhouse Hobbs is big. Maybe I should get some of my big friends. And then we end the segment. So I'm going to ask you, who do you think the big friend is? Is it someone coming in that we haven't seen? Is it someone internal that is going to be his new right-hand man like Sammy Guevara was? Or what do you got here?
Well, he said he's bigger than Powerhouse Hobbs, so that's very limiting.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking about the Big Show, is he? I mean, I get it. Powerhouse Hobbs beats Jericho in the Big Show, and we put Powerhouse Hobbs over, and it seems pretty easy.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs is going to slam Big Show. Or is it?
Yeah.
Or is it Shaq?
That would be too cool. Here's the problem with this, in my opinion,
Shaq.
is I think it's Jericho, right? We're going to reunite Jericho. Side note before I go more into this. That's what he does. Right? Side note, though, real quick. How fucking old is this show?
Oh, God.
We got,
Sting,
look at the
Ric Flair.
Sting, Chris Jericho, Christian Cage. I mean, no one's under the age of 45 that I've mentioned.
Yeah, a lot of talcum powder
Darby.
in that locker room.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Darby I mentioned, but yeah, Jericho, Sting, Ric Flair, Christian Cage.
Wasn't
And
Matt
then-
Hardy on this show?
Well, let's get right into it. The next matchup we saw was for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championships, and it was Young Bucks and Hangman Page versus the Hardys, and now I guess we're calling them Brother Zay. And this happened. Look, it's always fun to see a buckshot lariat. We got it. They won. Everyone got to see their favorite people, right?
I just don't. Okay. The Brothers A thing. We're going to zero in on this. Look, I'm not a pro wrestler, right? I haven't ran the roads and I haven't, got in the ring and done that. But like, didn't we know the first 2 times that this Brothers A thing ain't it? Like,
well, I think he thinks the give me a is getting over, but it ain't. And look, Hardys, you gotta stop.
they have been trying to do what Michael P.S. Hayes did for them for decades, and it hasn't worked for a single person, has it?
Oh no, I totally agree. I'm talking about they need to stop.
Oh, just stop doing the thing. Yeah.
Just because at this point,
Look, produce, maybe do some managing here and there. Jeff Hardy would suck at that, but you know what I mean? Like, just don't. Like, let's not. We're done wrestling.
well, to my point though is, you've got people like Christian Cage, like Chris Jericho, who are positioned as, hey, if you beat us, it's a big fucking deal. The Hardys, though, have lost so many times in a row that it's lost its value,
Yeah.
And so at that point, if you're just losing to everyone, then you got to go.
Yeah, then you don't got it anymore. The whole you still got it. We need a you don't got it. You don't got it.
Yeah,
Like, let's
you
go.
had it once.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had it once, and then just
You have lost it.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
just-
Yeah. So
All right.
we got our favorite tag team and Hangman to wrestle in front of the live crowd. And
Young
look,
Bucks.
I have heard Well, I've heard dozens and dozens of people when they come to Kansas City hope that they see the Young Bucks wrestle. The AEW show has been here, I believe, 5 times. Young Bucks have only appeared once, and it was in the corner of Kenny Omega, and that was it, right? That was it. And a lot of people love the Young Bucks. I could take them or leave them, but they're a draw for certain people, right? So for the Philly
What's
crowd,
up? Why don't the Young Bucks wrestle in Kansas City?
I don't know.
What's up with
Matt,
that?
Matt Jackson didn't even show up one time. He was, hurt and taken off. But like the basketball thing I went to, they're like, yeah, he's not here. So fuck, maybe they don't like Kansas City.
You could ask
Guess
him,
what?
like, what, you got me blocked on Twitter, bitch?
Oh, yeah, I would. Like, hey, what the fuck? I called you a cunt one time.
Unblock me. Yeah.
Yeah. God, come on. Jeez, grow
We're
up.
friends, guy.
Yeah, we're friends. Grow up and just accept my apology. Like,
I
like
bet
Punk.
if you said that to him, that might get them to unblock you. They'll be like, all right, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah. So post-match, as the young, what are they called?
Hung Bucks.
Hung Bucks are celebrating up on the big screen. We see Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana. And they go, hey,
they're not swerving and driving.
Well, they go, isn't this oh yeah, look at that.
How'd you do that? Yeah.
I don't know how I do this stuff. Remember how that happened one time? I don't know. Okay. So,
gotta watch the YouTube live stream.
Yeah,
gotta watch the live stream.
Shit just happens on my screen for some reason. But let's get back to this. So Swerve and Prince Nana go, isn't this Hangman's house? And they just walk in, like, should have locked your doors.
Oh, it's not what he said. He said, we're at the Hangman residence. And when he brings Swerve through the threshold, he goes, whose house?
Oh, yeah. Swerve's house.
Yeah. Oh.
So they do some creepy stuff. I love
Real
how
creepy.
Prince Nana, and Prince Nana is like, I'm not okay with this. Like,
Yeah.
the entire time he's like, hey, boss, I get it. Cool. We're doing it. But can we get the fuck out of here quickly? And Swerve Strickland is just living in it. He rips up one of the kids' like hand paintings and stuff. But here's the thing I have to ask.
He says, this family owes me something.
Right. And this is where, and maybe I'm stupid. Look, I've been stupid millions of times. But let's cut to the chase here. Swerve goes to the crib of Hangman's child and was like, hey, your dad took something away from me. I'm taking something away from you. And you're going to be in debt to me the rest of your life. And he throws a Prince Nana shirt on him, which I thought was funny. Like, of all the shirts, you chose this one. But here's my question, Tim. Where the fuck was the mom?
Was the kid actually in there? That was my thing. Was the family there, or was he like just like emulating that the family was there to make his point, right? But either way, we are straddling a real iffy line here if we're talking about threatening violence against children on, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, whoa, hey, guys, like, be careful how we tread here, right? Like, he was real close to going a little too far, right? So I think that's going to be if they catch any flag, that'll be the thing, is the kid wasn't there, right? Like, kid wasn't in the crib, right? But, oh man, instantly adding credibility to this idea that Swerve is the bad guy here in this situation.
Hot take, fucking love it. I wish he would have grabbed the fucking kid and burped it.
Choked him.
No, not choked him, but burped the
it.
fucking kid. You know,
just like actually had the kid and been like, what's up?
What's up? You're gonna fucking
Nana's trying to get it
to like. Well, no, I liked how Prince Nana was still like, hey, we gotta go, we gotta go. Yeah. But my whole question was, now again, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm stupid, and he was just talking down to the crib, saying like, this is going to be where
I can come here sometime when your family is here, right?
Yeah,
because the mom like, not know like what were you doing? Yeah, that's why I almost think that has to be.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, I do like Nana. The one thing he did was like, oh look, chocolate covered blueberries. Look, I love these.
Yeah. It was great. Nana was the MVP of this. I mean, obviously Swerve Strickland was the money, but
very villainous.
Really great.
Very disturbed villainous. Yeah.
One thing that I've always thought is funny, and just for me, is, and maybe I've never been put in this situation, so I don't know how to necessarily act, but when Hangman jumps out of the ring and is running, Brother, you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Well, he's running to his phone, is what I imagine, right? Like he's got to check in with the wife, right? Like make sure she's safe. Like he's got to maybe call his neighbor to be like, fucking call the cops or something. You know what I mean? Like that kind of
something.
Shit.
Because I was like, you live in Virginia, you're not going to run there. So I don't know.
No, this is to get to communication devices. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, it's just it's always been fun when I see the babyface run out of the ring or
it's anxiety and you're just like, I gotta fucking you know what I mean? Like I gotta fucking do something, right? You don't know what you're doing, you just run. Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Fight or flight.
All right, so now let's circle back to that Sting, Darby Allin, and Mystery Person versus Christian Cage, Broke Tooth Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus. I'm calling him Broke Tooth for the rest of his career. I think that's funny.
Nick Tooth Wayne.
Nick the Tooth Wayne. Yes.
Nick the Tooth. His tooth is nicked. Nicked Tooth Wayne.
But backstage,
it's a little more than nicked, if I remember it. It was pretty fucked up.
I think Nick the Tooth. Nick the Tooth.
Nick the Tooth.
Nick the Tooth. Anyhow, but we get backstage, Renee Paquette is talking to Adam Copeland. And she says, hey, anything change your mind? And Darby and Sting walk in and we're like, hey, the fuck is going on with you? Open your eyes. And Sting references, hey, I had the blinders on. I remember Lex Luger. I remember Ric Flair. And so open your eyes. And then they leave. And Adam Copeland's kind of like, well, maybe. So
Sting went full angry dad mode on Adam Copeland.
Yeah. So my thought is it's going to be Adam Copeland.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, this is what I think. I don't know if that match is at the pay-per-view. Let's just say it's at Collision to pop a rating, right? I don't think that they're going to have a
square
partner.
Off. Oh, you don't think they'll have a partner and he'll...
Right.
Okay.
It'll be 2-on-3, beat down, Christian Cage stands over him. Then Sting and Darby say one more shot. And then at the pay-per-view, that's when Adam Copeland says, Christian Cage, I'm kicking your ass, right?
Or so it's Collision. Who's your partner? Who's your partner? You think you know him, right? Right? All that shit. And then they powder out. They're like, fuck this. Bullshit. No, right? And then it's, well, you guys, you know what I mean? Like you chicken out. They're like, no. We're going to do this at the fucking pay-per-view, right? Something
Full
like that.
gear.
Right?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. But that's what I think is going to happen. I don't know when that match takes place, but that's going to be the match when we get the
payoff. Yeah. But I like your thing, right? They don't have a partner. They get beat down. And then, you know what I mean? Like, then we can still further this, like, still fucking around with that guy, you know what I mean? Like, and then, right, yeah.
Well, that's where Christian can cross the line, right? He concertos
Sting,
Darby's shoulder, or Sting, yeah, something like that. And then Adam's like, you motherfucker. All right.
Told you, you can't do that to Sting.
I'm going to have to kick your ass, right? Yeah, so we'll see. I don't want to talk about this next match that much because it sucked, but it was right before the main event, Tim. So you know what that means.
I do know.
Ready?
It's
time
for the women. This did suck.
Match sucked. And you know why it sucked, Tim? Because Ruby Soho is trash at wrestling. She might be a great person. Apparently, if you believe the rumors on the wrestling, she's dating Cool Hand Ange. So maybe she's a good person because Cool Hand Ange seems like a cool person. So
yeah, maybe. But yeah, I've never been like, that was a great match.
Sucks. She sucks. Because here's the thing. I can point to amazing matches with Hikaru Shida, Jamie Hayter,
100%.
Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose. I've got some catalog of Hikaru Shida can fucking do this.
We have evidence.
I ain't got nothing in the Ruby Soho camp, right? And her promos are bad because she just does. You don't think that like it's just one
she's
note.
Got the angry bobblehead a bunch.
Yeah. And then like when she sells in her big eyes, she's like she's a caricature of what she thinks a pro wrestler is. And bye. Bye. You have a great song. I really like the song you come out to. Bye. We don't need you. Bye. And so Hikaru Shida wins. Now, after that, as she celebrates, we go to black and white. Why, Tim? Because Tony Storm comes out or a stare down.
It does, but does the whole dance and like the whole, well, not even dancing. She's just like, I love that the announcers couldn't even hold it together. They were like, this is fucking great.
And Luther's in the back, just like, yep, this
just
is
stone
what Tony
cold,
Storm does.
just fucking poker faced, man. Yeah, we might low key coming away liking Luther a little bit more than we ever have after all this.
We'll see. Yeah. We will see. And then after the stare down, that is when we get the earlier mentioned MJF and Samoa Joe segment that we've already talked about. And then we get right to our main event. We get Chaos, the tag team of Orange Cassidy and Okada, taking on Blackpool Combat Club members Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. And interesting, I never realized this, but I thought this was actually pretty cool. This was the first time that Bryan Danielson wrestled Orange Cassidy. They had never wrestled before. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, timing-wise.
Here they are. And so they put on a show. Claudio and Orange Cassidy put on a show. We get the payoff of Okada and Danielson. They put on a show. And we're wrestling. And we get to the end. And at the end, Orange Cassidy gets the orange punch on Danielson. Okada gets his Rainmaker clothesline. But Claudio comes in, uppercuts Orange Cassidy. He rips off his peel. Get it? Because he's in orange. Rips off his peel, covers him 1, 2, 3. Claudio wins. But then we look over and Bryan Danielson's acting like his face is all broke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I watched this back probably 6 or 7 times. This is a work. He did not get hit in the face at all. I believe what they're doing is they're doing a home and home where Okada came over here and wrestled on Forbidden Door against Danielson. So what's in January? The fucking Wrestle Kingdom?
Yep.
So Wrestle Kingdom will get the rematch of Okada versus Danielson.
Broke my face. I'm coming for you.
Over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's what I think is going to happen. Now.
So he's not going to become dashing.
No, well, good guy. Let's hope so. Now, there were some fun moments in here when Okada does his Rainmaker pose, which they zoom the camera out. Then Orange Cassidy goes like, well, then that's my hug. And then they zoom the camera out again. I thought that was fun. And there was, again, really good action. But this is where timing was off or something was off. So Danielson's there acting like his face is broke. So that brings in Blackpool Combat Club members. Okada, trying his best acting, is like talking shit on Danielson. Like, yeah, I did that to you, but it's not coming across really great. Best friends come out because Orange Cassidy got beat up. So they're tending to him. Jon Moxley kind of looks at Okada and is like, you motherfucker and stuff. But then we just stand around and that's the show. Yeah.
I felt like we ended on a whimper when the whole show was like going off with a bang. And then the last two, like the match was fine. The last match, the main event match was fine. But like there wasn't a whole lot of, again, there is a little bit of story built into some of this, but not a whole lot compared to everything else we got leading up, right? Like almost everything else was so story thick, right? Which usually is the other way around. You get some of your less story thick stuff done earlier and then the story stuff at the end, but we kind of did the other way around. And maybe that's to catch people. I've said this before in this new day and age where like television ratings aren't always, you know what I mean? Like, and there's so many other options that sometimes you're not trying to hold people to the end to get all the big ratings. You got to fucking get them now, right? And know that they're going to trail off, right? So you got to kind of fucking pop them. So, I just kind of felt underwhelmed at the end with that, right? I was like, I kind of don't really care where the story goes either, you know?
Well, that's where, look, you've got the crazy Jon Moxley. Claudio just beat Orange Cassidy. You could have Orange Cassidy get up, have his title, push it in Claudio's face. Claudio then pushes Orange Cassidy. That brings Jon Moxley to hit Orange Cassidy. And you could have all of this craziness while Bryan Danielson is still like tending to his face, but we have some chaos. Like when we're all just standing around and we all don't like each other, but no one's doing anything about it. Well, who the fuck cares about that? You know what I mean? So it should have had, someone should have took the initiative and be like, hey, let's fight each other.
Felt like they ended a little early. They didn't have something to fill it with.
Exactly. Yeah. There was some.
Yeah.
But that was AEW Dynamite.
All the rest of it, even that, again, wasn't so bad that it was like awful. And the rest of it before more than made up for it. I thought this was one of their better episodes to date in a long time. It was really good.
Yeah. And, you know, I have been one of the loudest critics of their production and their camera work and how shitty it is.
Didn't notice any of that.
Didn't notice it one bit. Yeah, I thought overall this was an A+ show. Really loved all of it. Again, I just think the timing, which is fine, was a little off. Again, you get a take 2, you ended a little earlier. It's fine. But yeah, fantastic episode of AEW Dynamite. Saturday, we get, as mentioned, Kenny Omega versus MJF for the World Heavyweight Championship. We get Claudio versus Orange Cassidy for the International Championship. I think that's on Dynamite. We still get Who the Fuck's the Devil. We still get Adam Cole is recovering. The Kingdom. I mean, it's just fun.
We get all of it.
I just
We
love
get all of it.
I just love that MJF is the main character now of AEW, and everyone identifies it. Everyone is, yeah, fuck that guy. He shouldn't be the main character. And now we get all the stories.
I want that title. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And I'll be back next week. If I'm not, we'll both be back 2 weeks from now as Tom heads to Germany. So keep talking to us, right? Get us some emails to the table show, right? Give us a call to Spanish Announce voicemail, right? All those things. Talk to us. Let us know your thoughts on pro wrestling, and let us know, in your opinion, who is the devil?
The Spanish Announce Table.